Nick.
Yes.
Time for another topic. You ready?
All right. Love it.
This one comes from patreon.com/kindafunny, where Tack Track is carrying the load for us, gave us some money, and let us pick, or he picked a topic for us. Cool. His topic for us is movies. I'd like a personal top 5 favorite movie list from each of you. I would also like to know what your favorite movie quote is from each of those movies.
Jesus.
Now, that's crazy enough.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Here's the next part of his thing, which we aren't going to do, Tech Track, you son of a bitch. Finally, I want you to have a 5-minute conversation with each other going around the table with only 2 rules. You must speak only in movie quotes, and you must try to impersonate the actress's voice you are quoting. Don't research the movie quotes. Just spit them out as they come to mind. You're a sadistic son of a bitch, Tech Track.
What's funny is that, and you've been with my family, like we don't speak only in movie quotes, but we interject movie quotes a lot.
All the time.
Yeah.
Big fat Greek wedding.
Big fat Greek wedding. There's a lot of other ones, random ones. And I'll do it a lot with things that don't really make any sense. Like, we'll be going somewhere and I'll be like, follow the collie. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, 101 Dalmatians. And he's like, and so I just do random shit. I don't know why. But but trying to have a whole conversation like that.
You develop that sort of back and forth with your significant other too. And I have that with my wife, where every once in a while she'll be like, just keep swimming. And I'm like, oh yeah, what the hell's that from again? She's like, Finding Nemo. And I was like, oh, right. And so we say that every once in a while to each other. 5, huh?
Yeah. Okay. I'm
5.
writing mine down.
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta write mine down too. There's
I already know my number 1. It's Labyrinth.
See, I think number 1's easy for everybody. So Labyrinth, why Labyrinth?
Because it's the greatest movie. And there's great songs. There's David Bowie's massive
Beautiful crotch.
God, that dick was so big.
Dick.
There's
he was all
Jennifer
dick.
Connelly,
he was just all dick. You know what I mean?
Beautiful young Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, she was so gorgeous. She still is beautiful.
She still is, yeah.
Still gorgeous.
But she was like 14 in that movie.
Was she really?
Yeah, she was
she
really
had
young.
the unibrow, which was amazing.
She still has really nice big bushy brows, which
Yeah, she
I
does.
like
Big
a lot.
bushy beard.
I mean, it was one of the first. What's bizarre to me is that I wasn't afraid of this movie as a child, which I feel like a lot of people were. But I just loved it, and I've owned it on every single medium that it's come out on, with the exception of Laserdisc. Or somebody said that once. They're like, well, "Did you own it on Laserdisc?" I'm like, nobody had a Laserdisc.
Yeah.
But I had it on like those little tapes. Like I don't even know what the format was. You know,
Betas?
UMDs?
like
You mean Betamax?
Universal Media Discs?
sure, maybe.
Wait, what year is this, do you think?
I don't know. I was really young. Like I was born in '85.
Okay.
So
So if you're like
Sorry.
85, 86, 87.
It was like early '90s.
Yeah, could have been Beta. It wasn't Beta. It might have been Betamax. It might have been Beta. Because there was Beta and VHS were the two popular formats in the 80s. And if it wasn't disc-based, it was probably one of those, if I had to imagine.
Yeah. So maybe it was that. And then, because I just remember like a tiny tape.
Yeah, betas were like this big. They were like that big. And what's hilarious is VHSs were like comparisons like this. Betas were like this big, and they held more and were a higher quality.
Weren't they cheaper too?
They were better 100%. And I think I don't know my history as well as I should in the subject, but I think what had driven it was that the porn industry adopted VHS, and then that basically because Beta is Sony. And Sony, Sony's format, that was their proprietary format. And, they're always trying to push
stars
it.
on board.
Yeah.
I don't know how that worked out, but I guess VHS it just got picked up, and that was it, and it killed Beta.
Yeah.
They still use Beta. I mean, up until maybe like 10 years ago, Betas were still very prevalent in professional use because it was just a good tape format. But then HD came around, and they got wiped out because they were standard definition. What was the movie you were just talking about though? Labyrinth. Okay.
And I can't
I would have been
remember
Beta then.
if it was that or if we like illegally not downloaded it, but
Bootlegged
recorded it while it was on TV one
Sure.
day.
Well, that's
I don't
not
know.
illegal.
I guess not illegal because we didn't distribute it. But I can't remember if it was like one of that or anyways.
Oh, you mean like you taped it off a TV
Yeah,
like we used to
I
do?
can't
I
remember.
used to have VHS. You hit like slow play or long play, whatever it was.
Yeah,
and you would have
yeah.
like 5 movies, and you'd have to write them all in the logo.
Give me EP or whatever.
Yeah,
and
EP.
it was like 8 hours, and it was just like fucking through sand.
It was like you're like, I think that's Bill Murray. Yeah, I had like you, and then I would always, when I was a kid, I was just such a fucking like, I don't know why I would do this, but I would try to draw the logo on the.
Oh, nice.
It was Ghostbusters. It would be the
Sure,
like,
yeah. No Ghost logo.
logo.
But-
It never worked out.
So I was at PAX this weekend and I got to have lunch with Laura Bailey.
We know her.
And
Name dropping.
yes. But this is why I love her to death and why we're friends. So you know how I will randomly just say a movie quote.
Sure.
I'm not trying to do, I don't know, it just happens. So I can't remember what it was, but I said something from Labyrinth just like offhand, and she followed up Didn't miss a beat with
What
like
did you
the
say?
next quote.
This can be your
afterwards.
quote. You can fix your quote.
But
right now.
I can't remember what line. I just remember looking at her and being like, "I love you so much. I want to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
out with your face right now."
Did you do it?
Did you do it?
Did you film it?
No, I didn't. I didn't do that.
Her husband's big. Don't say stuff like that.
I know. I met him.
He can kick your ass.
He's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
You punch through every one of
He's
these
such a
walls.
nice guy, though.
I know he's super nice. They all are. That's the problem with that whole voice actor clique they have is that they're all super nice. They'd all do anything for you. They're a bunch of monsters.
Yeah, we played hard at Comic-Con.
I'm finding it hard to put a fourth in.
I've got.
I have 1, 2, 3.
Look,
I left 4
here's what
blank.
you need to do. You can't pick a top 5 list like this. Just pick 5 movies that you love.
5, and then
That's
don't
it.
rank them.
Yeah, everyone always asks me, especially me. They're like, "Oh, what's your top 5 movies all the time?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. It changes."
Oh, so you just rattle them off the top of your head?
I just 5 movies that I know I love that I've seen a billion times that I have quotes for.
Okay. Oh well, yeah, the quote thing.
That's what I always do. And
I
also,
like Stardust a lot.
Stardust.
It's just a great
yeah,
movie.
yeah, that was actually a really good movie. That kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah.
And I watched it one day, I think on HBO, and I was like, "Why is this so good?"
Really
Doesn't
good.
have any. And then I was like, "Oh, it's Neil Gaiman. Gaiman? Is it Gaiman?
Gaiman.
Neil-
I don't actually, no, Gaiman.
Is it Gaiman?
I don't know.
Sandman.
Yes,
Yeah,
he did
Sandman.
Sandman. He did a lot of stuff.
What's your so what? How do you want to do this? You want to give me all 5, or you just want to give me your one, or what do
You want to go back and forth?
Sure.
Do you want?
Okay. My number 1 is 1989 Batman.
I watched that again for the first time as an adult when I was
need to
in
watch
LA. It was so good.
It's
You know what I
good.
mean? It was really, really good. And I did I talk to you about this or Tim about Taylor Swift?
I think you were talking to me about it actually.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out a way in a tweet to do it without sounding like I was insulting anybody, so I just didn't. But Kim
all you have to say-
Basinger
oh.
in 1989
Oh, yeah, we were talking
Batman
about this.
looks so much like Taylor Swift that either we need to go back in time and get Kim Basinger in 1989 to play Taylor Swift in whatever biopic she does, or get Taylor Swift to play Kim Basinger in the Kim Basinger movie.
Oh, that could work.
Because I'm telling you, man, like it was, and like the performances were great. It was I hadn't seen that movie as an adult. Period.
I haven't seen it as an adult.
Yeah, see, I always like to Tim about it, and he's like, "It's really campy." I'm like, "Go back and watch it again because it's kind of twisted. It's got a very distinct style to it, and I think a lot of people remember it more in line with the Adam West series than in line with the Nolan series." And I'm like,
Interesting, yeah.
"No, it's not. It was
It was the
distinctive
start
beast.
of that. It was what really
Yeah.
established Batman
It
as
really
like he's
did.
gonna be a dark motherfucker.
Because I remember, I mean, I don't remember a lot, but I do remember thinking it was goofy for some reason.
because it was goofy.
I mean, Jokers
Yeah.
and stuff. Like the whole art scene is like goofy, but it's fun. It doesn't
It's
feel
fucked up,
campy and shit.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
twisted. Like if
Yeah.
you remember, and this is what everyone's always like, "Oh, it's campy." I'm like, until he sits down. Then it's really fucked up because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
brings over the girl
Yeah,
who
yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
killed with.
He's
like,
made
you know,
art. Yeah.
made art with her. He burned half her face away, and it's like
Yeah.
freaky. And then
Sandra Coughlin?
you're like, I need to get her out of
The
the.
dog?
She needs to get out of the
The
situation.
Oh, okay.
It was Mick Jagger's ex-wife, I think, is the actress. I can't.
Gotcha.
Remember. Yeah. Anyway, so my line for that movie is "This town needs an enema," which is a famous line
That is
from
good.
Jack
Yeah,
Nicholson.
yeah,
This
that's good.
town needs an enema. He was fantastic in that. Greg, what's your number 1?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Come on.
that's on my list too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's got to be top 5 on my.
Yeah.
That actually is legitimately top 5. What's your quote from it?
Nobody steps on a church in my town.
I was
1,
like,
2, 3, roast them.
my favorite interaction from that movie is always when the guy, they're sitting there waiting to go up the elevator, and the guy's like, "What are you, some sort of cosmonaut?" He's like, "What is
somebody
he?"
saw a cockroach. We're exterminators.
exterminators.
Somebody saw a
cockroach
cockroach up on 12.
Yeah, he's like,
Must be some cockroach. Bite
"Bite
your
your
head off,
man."
pal.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. The Ghostbusters, I was so obsessed with it. I remember that was one of the ones because I had gotten in trouble once with playing in the front yard with Dad, where I hid behind a tree and yelled, "You bastard." Based on Back to the Future, not understanding what the word was, but understanding the context. He's like, don't say that word. So I remember Ghostbusters on one of my 15,000 times of seeing it, having to go and my mom be like, "Mom, can I call somebody a puss bucket?" She's like, "Yeah, that's okay."
She's like, I don't give a shit about that.
Works out well.
Yeah.
Um,
You learn from your mistakes, Nick.
And from your
do.
parents.
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Christine, what's your next one on your list here?
I already said Stardust.
Oh,
I'll just
sorry,
say
Stardust. All right,
I don't
cool.
know. I'm just picking movies.
Yeah, no,
at
this
point.
that's what I did for my 4th. Is I just one that was on the list that I wanted to. I was like, okay, cool. I don't know if that's like my definitive 4th movie of all
I'm
time.
just thinking of movies that I bought / kept like held on.
What we still have out there.
Because Stardust is not a movie that typically comes on that often, and sometimes I want to watch it.
Yeah. That's the thing. I was like, my number 1 and 2 are locks that have been forever. So Ghostbusters, of course, and number 2 is Mallrats. Mallrats was, and it's one of those things that I don't understand. There's no way to explain to somebody who would watch it now.
Sure.
But you have to understand that, like, being a comic book fan was so isolating back. You know, you're so isolated as a comic book fan back then that, you know, and not only back then being like that, I could only talk to people at the comic shop about the comics. Like my friends didn't read comics. You know what I mean? Like going to Comic-Con was just becoming a thing, and I mean like Chicago Comic-Con, not real Comic-Con. So just have it on. I missed it in the big screen because it was marketed so poorly. But when
I don't think it was marketed at all.
Exactly. Well, no, I had a comic book with an ad on the back, but you had no idea what the movie was.
Right.
And so then when you get it and I'm watching it and they're having conversations about how sex would work with Superman and Lois and making Wolverine references and Stan Lee's in this movie. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, this is the movie. Yeah, you know what I mean? This is the fucking movie for who I am and everything else. Yeah.
What's your quote from it? And technically, do or do not, there is no try is not from Mallrats. I'm sorry to say.
I wouldn't say that. You know that. You know. Oh, man. I always like the... I don't want now I'm of the thing. Well, fuck, I don't want to fuck up the quote. You know what I mean?
Doesn't matter. I fucked up my quote.
I love it. I always loved the point when they're at the flea market and Brody's paging through the comics and he yells at the lady. They should have boards. Savages.
I haven't done quotes for either of my movies.
It's fine.
Do you have one for Stardust? I can't remember anything from Stardust.
Oh, Stardust! It's a thing falling.
Stardust. If they could.
There are some good quotes in there. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Labyrinth, I quote almost the entire movie, so it's hard to pick a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But
you always talk about that bog of eternal stench.
The bog of eternal stench is fun, but it's really random. There's a point where they're in the oubliette and they're trying to get out, and a ball, like Jareth's ball, rolls by, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Because now they know it's him, and they come over, but he's in like this hobo costume, like hobo goblin costume. Yeah. And he's like, what have we here? And then they're like, oh, nothing's happening. And he's like, nothing, tra-la-la. And then he gets up and he like throws his cloak down. And I really like that.
I gotta go back and watch Labyrinth. For some reason, Labyrinth terrified me when I was a kid. That one,
it's terrifying.
It is pretty. It is really scary. Those were when they made like kids like. Movies for kids are more like Brothers Grimm fairy tales. You're like, this is kind of fucked up, and I don't think
super fucked up.
Like, what was not of the right age for me?
Oh, Dark Crystal. It was a Dark Crystal.
Dark
You watch that, you're like,
one.
And I'm like, where? I remember actually watching that movie and thinking, where is my mom, and why is she letting me watch this movie? Yeah. I needed an out, but I didn't get one. It terrified me. Yeah. What'd you write down?
I started writing down quotes. So I wouldn't be like searching when you ask me.
Okay, go for it.
What's your 2? Did you do 2?
Oh, number 2, Die Hard. It's one of the most iconic quotes in the movie, obviously, is when he's crawling through the air duct and he takes a moment for himself to be sarcastic. It's very telling of his character, and it's amazing. He's got the lighter and he's like, come out to the coast, we'll get together, we'll have a few laughs. Like, why the fuck did I agree to do this, right? Like, why am I in this situation? But it's that perfect quintessential Bruce Willis look where he's just in the middle of hell, but he's taking a second just to laugh at the stupidity of his situation. Like, he laughed at himself, really. And I love that. I love that quote.
All right, so my third one here, and I went back and forth, and I keep crossing it out. But I'm gonna say Superman.
Okay, which Superman?
I was thinking Donner? Superman 2, and that's what I kept going back and forth. Of course, Donner. I'm not crazy, but that's the argument. Was it Superman 1 or is it Superman 2?
Sure.
And Superman 1 is just such a great origin story. You know what I mean? Like just like and that's a movie you watch that still holds up with like moments. I feel like, and the one I picked I think is the best moment in the movie when it's a helicopter tumbles off. Lois is falling from it. He grabs Lois, grabs it. Don't worry, and he's like, "Don't worry, I got you." And she goes, "Who's got? You've got me. Who's got you?" Like that scene still is perfect. Such a perfect fucking scene.
Because it was the build up. It was like skunkaran.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you've been waiting.
Skunkaran. Right, and the thing's like falling off and everything. It's that Rube Goldberg like chaos fucking machine that's happening. You're like, well, and it's actually a beautiful scene for tension, right? Yeah. Because you're like, that thing's gonna fall. She's gonna fall out. It's all gonna happen, and then there's nothing that can fix this. There's nothing that can save this. Oh wait, who is this guy? And it's the perfect way.
And
to
that's the thing too. Is like that's the first time you see him. That's his reveal, and that's so deep in that movie because you're on Krypton forever. You're in Smallville forever, and then you're like finally fucking in Metropolis with him in the fucking suit, the blue blazer, and everything.
At some point, you're gonna have to watch these movies with me.
Okay, have you not watched them recently or ever? Or?
I love all of them.
I don't know if I've ever watched them.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that scene.
That one's really,
I feel
like
I know that
That's
line.
The thing. So much of it's
I'm sure it's just...
1 and 2 are good.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
3 is
no
weird as shit, and 4 you're like,
is
what is
Spider-Man 3 bad?
No. 4 is. 4 is worse than Spider-Man 3. Okay. But Superman 3 gets a bad rap. It's a comedy and it's this weird thing, and it's got
Richard Pryor.
Thank you. I was going to say Richard Dreyfuss. That's not right. Very starkly different people.
That would be hilariously different. Yeah.
But it's like it's not terrible. It's weird for sure. You know what I mean? But it's like it's somewhat fun.
You know, it actually wasn't bad until the sort of the anti-Superman part.
Yeah, that was
just-
kind of
you're
cool
just
because like he had to fight somebody other than the computer,
yeah, but like how does
which
he
is how
come-
that movie
In the
ends.
Yeah, he
computer?
Him fighting a computer.
That was weird, man.
Zoolander.
I've got one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a Schwarzenegger film. It's called Predator,
I've heard of it.
and it's probably the most.
Never seen
It's
it.
probably the most
You weren't a little
quoted
boy.
movie of
That
Schwarzenegger's
is
work.
true.
For one scene when he walks into the so the idea behind Predator is that it's they're a team of like
Is that the
mercenaries
one with
working.
the
Yeah, he
man,
looks-
tentacle man?
Yeah, he looks like he's got
He's
dreads.
got dreads, yeah,
Yeah.
and he's got the weird.
But it's a team
Mandibles.
of like crack soldiers that get called by the U.S. military to go in. They're basically a military. I think
They're
they're
Black
actually,
Ops.
I think they're Black Ops. Yeah, they work for the military, and they have to come in and go to like a South American country to rescue some people that have crashed there. And he goes in, and there's a guy from the CIA there, played by Carl Weathers, and they're both. Everyone in this movie is jacked up.
I just remember the movies.
And of course, the famous quote is when he's like, "Dylan, you son of a bitch," and they slap arms together, and the
Yeah.
biceps of these men, these two beautiful men who have just done cartons or like carts of steroids in their life. And he goes, and they do the arm wrestling. And he's like, "You've been pushing too many pencils." And because it's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that part of the movie. And then the rest of it is just amazingly cool. Great film. Another McTiernan film.
Kristine, what did you remember?
I remembered how much I loved When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, that is a good movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's just I watch that movie at least once a year.
Oh, I think I do too, actually. I love the scene. I mean, the famous scene.
The
I'll
orgasm
have what
scene?
she's having.
Yeah, that's
so
a
good.
great
Yeah, there's so many good lines in there.
There's a
though.
lot of great. It's funny because you go back. I saw it when I was a kid, and I was like, "This is a really good movie. This is really fun, and I like these characters." You watch it when you're an adult, and you're like, "Fuck, these people. I've gone through this.
Yeah.
This is like mid to late 20s. Like maybe they're in their 30s at this point, but like
At the end of
young
the movie, they're in their
adults
30s, yeah.
dating in New York in that time period, and it's
Right.
like it's spot on. It's hilarious.
That made me think of the line. And I'm gonna be 40 soon. When? Or like no,
Yeah.
you're not for like another 10 years. I know, but it's out there.
Yeah, but it's out
like-
there. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh god, what else do I have? Hold on. Oh, my favorite movie of all time. One of my favorite movies of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh.
There's so many good quotes in that. I'm not going to say the obvious quote, which is the one
Bueller.
the life moves pretty fast.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
yeah,
say
yeah,
that
yeah.
I just
one.
like Bueller.
I love the quote when she describes him as Abe when they're talking about Abe Froman, Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, I'm gonna murder the quote right now. I'm sorry, but she's like, he's 5'8", gray jacket, devastatingly handsome.
Yeah.
he's like listening to her say it on the phone. It's awesome. I love that back and forth.
My next one I put on here.
No,
Oh, sorry.
talking
sorry,
about Ferris
sorry.
Bueller.
Oh, sorry.
Because I tweeted this out a while ago,
Yeah.
but I just want to give this a little tip to anybody who works in an office where
Just a
people
tip.
Mm-hmm. might ignore your emails. What I always do to get a response is if I send an email, send the follow up. If they still haven't responded within a reasonable amount of time, a few days, I send back Bueller. Gets a response every time.
Yep.
Everybody
Pro
appreciates
tip.
it.
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
My fourth one, this is the one that you were like, clear your mind and put one in there. I put in Roadhouse.
Oh, fucking A.
That
Fucking
movie.
love
Oh my
Roadhouse.
god! Did he just?
He did just fart.
Oh, that is fucking
Holy shit.
holy shit! That is like a stink bomb.
How does that dog make that smell?
Oh my god!
It is bad. It's quite pungent.
really
I won't lie.
I can't get away from it.
Oh my god! We need a fan. Help us, God! Oh no!
Well, all right,
Oh,
Portillo.
God.
There's pros and cons to you. You're like Kevin.
He's a smell amplifier.
Oh my god!
Oh,
That is
that woke me up.
pungent.
My eyes.
Bog of eternal stench.
There it
right
is.
There.
Oh,
You guys are on the business end.
Oh.
my eyes are watering.
Roadhouse.
It's good. It's fine.
Roadhouse is a
yeah.
fantastic
Oh,
film.
God. The double deuce.
Yeah, the double deuce.
God, that's so good.
Also features a Mizzou sweatshirt in it, which I'm a big fan of. One of the guys because
makes
it
sense.
takes place in Missouri.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it does take
That's
place
awesome.
in Missouri. Yeah, where there are no rules and you can drive your monster truck through another auto dealership and there's no repercussions.
No repercussions.
That's
You can
'cause he owned that town.
he
You
did own
can
that
also
town.
murder like 7 people in a house and there's
Yeah.
no repercussions.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't see
everyone's like,
anything.
this guy owns this town. There's nothing we can do. You can call the FBI. You can call another
You can
police
call
station.
literally
You can call
any
literally
other
anyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone you know and be like, this guy is on a murder spree, and the FBI would come down.
And
there
but that's
probably
what
just
like
arrest
why
him.
Roadhouse works is like it's just in that same 80s action movie of just like nonsense. You know what I mean? It's like a different kind of nonsense than Predator for sure. But it's just like such a fun nonsense of just like Dalton is just fucking brought to town all the time to fucking clean up these bars and just snap the staff into. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, how is any of this working? It's great.
Oh, I know.
And the quote, of course, is, "I thought you'd be bigger." Because that's just great that like he's 7 different times in that movie. Somebody's like, "I thought you'd be bigger."
Yeah. Because he's like this
for his line of
You
work.
get the opposite line.
I thought you'd be
I
smaller.
thought you'd be
everyone's
smaller.
like, I
And
can't
I was
believe
like,
it.
why are you so big?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and Patrick Swayze, man. This is I watched it recently with her because she had never seen it, and that's when I was telling you like he should have been they should have given him a Batman role at some point.
Yeah, I
He
can
was
totally
too
see
small.
I
though,
know,
but
but that would have been a great interpretation of the character. You
I
know
don't
what I
think
mean?
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
because
a
I feel
fucking
like in
badass.
cinematography, it's really easy to fake that.
Well, they did it with Michael Keaton. He's not
Yeah,
that tall.
exactly.
You put him in big boots. He
Some Tom Cruise heels.
God, he had a great career though. He did. He
Oh,
did
yeah.
like from like the mid. He owned the '80s first of all. Like from mid to late '80s,
Dirty
he owned
Dancing's
that.
a
Dirty
great
Dancing,
movie.
Ghost. The Ghost was like, I'm like talking about crying at the end of a film. Jesus Christ. And then of course one of my all-time favorite movies, Point Break, where he did it with a young Keanu Reeves.
See, that's a great one.
And that is the
haven't seen
most.
that.
So,
That's a
oh
really
my
good
god,
movie.
it's so quotable. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
I'm not gonna go for the obvious. Here's the quote. My favorite quote on
What's
that.
the
He's
obvious?
like,
Is the one who he's yelling at him? 'Cause
no,
that's what's
yeah,
coming
it's the
to
one where
mind.
he's yelling. He's like, and he says something. He says something to the extent of it's John C. McGinley, the head of the FBI, or the FBI director. He's like, I guess it must have been asshole day, or there's no maybe that's what he says. He says something to the extent of there must have been a shortage of assholes at the FBI today, right? He walks away, and Keanu Reeves is like, not so far. Did he fart again?
Yeah, he did.
This thought like throwing me off. My
sure?
God.
A little bit. Or maybe it was just like a
No, he
aftershock.
did. He pushed
Aftershock
a little bit more out. There's a little more. Oh,
Run
that
bar
movie's so
time, I used
amazing.
to go outside.
They call him Bodhi. The Bodhisattva. That's from Point Break.
Okay, I haven't
little
seen
special.
Point Break as an adult. I need to go back.
You're
and
gonna
watch
love
that
it.
too.
Watch
It's
it.
beautifully directed.
Okay,
Catherine Bigelow. It's good.
who's that?
Did Hurt Locker.
Oh, okay.
Did Strange Days. Yeah. It's awesome.
Gotcha. Christine, what do you need to add out there?
I'm trying to pick a Disney film,
Oh,
and it's kind of hard. I really love Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and
Just
Little
put
Mermaid.
Avengers and be
Those are
done with
my
it.
3. Those are my top 3 Disney's, and I'm gonna stick them in as number.
Oh, okay.
Whatever this is.
Lion King.
Lion King's
Some
great.
great
He
films,
doesn't
some
like.
great-
He doesn't like Lion.
I don't
King.
like Disney films. Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
a big fan.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see you not liking Disney. films.
Hakuna,
But
give me my ticket money back. Am I right?
For Lion King, my favorite part was
It's a problem free philosophy on that one. Give me my ticket money back.
but at the end of the movie where Zazu's in a cage, and then like Timon and Pumbaa are running in or whatever, and then somebody comes in basically and is like, "Let me out!" And they're like, "Let me in!
Yeah,
Like,
let me
they
in, let
want
me
to
in.
get into the cage.
That's
so that-
awesome.
That's funny.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. That was memorable. Oh man.
My final movie
Oh.
here on the list. You can go.
Sorry, no. I'm
No,
just
please.
thinking-
There's really
and then
no
I'm
order.
adding Aladdin to that just because Robin Williams' genie was so good.
See, that was a good one. I liked Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yeah. My final one is Return of the Living Dead. Now I had Dawn of the Dead on here,
Okay.
Ramiro. I had Night of the Living Dead on here, but I'm putting Return of the Living Dead because it's most quotable. It's also a crazy film. It turns all the stuff on their head. You remember this one?
No.
Did you ever watch this one?
Which one was it? I'll
This
get
is
all
the
the
one
dead films
Rosenbaum and I
confused.
geeked out about when he was
Okay.
on, right? Of like the zombies, like you can't kill them basically. You can chop them up in little bits, and little bits come after you and stuff like that.
That sucks.
Like hands and stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
in some sensical fashion or whatever. But the zombies can talk, they can think, they can do all this different stuff.
Was this the more recent one?
No.
Because there was one that came out where they were like in a fortress in the future and like zombies were outside and we were living inside totally fine.
Oh, you're thinking of
was
the
like
other. This
Dennis
isn't a
Hopper
Ramiro
or
film. This
something.
isn't
Oh,
a
okay.
Ramiro film. You're thinking of fuck. He did Diary of the Dead next. Then he
Batman and the Living Dead.
Land of the Dead. Land of the Dead.
that's
Land
what
of the
it was.
Dead. Yeah, with John Leguizamo and I can picture him. He was Bowser in the Mario Brothers movie. He was
Dennis
in
Hopper.
Apocalypse Now. Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
You're like, I went to Mario instead of Apocalypse
Now
Now.
I
Not a
do.
problem. Actually, that's perfect.
All
That's
of the
that one.
Ramiro movies, I didn't even like Day that much. Like a lot of people like Day of the Dead, but I thought after Dawn of the Dead, they all kind of just were like, niche, no thanks.
Yeah, I liked the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
The remake of the Dawn of the Dead was awesome, written
that was
by
cool.
James Gunn.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, was it Zack Snyder who did it?
I think Zack
directed
Snyder directed it. Yeah.
And then the quote from that one is "Send more paramedics." When the zombie gets on the phone because they've eaten all the paramedics they sent,
Oh.
he gets on the little thing when they're asking like, "What the hell's going on?" It says, "Send more paramedics."
Interesting. That's awesome.
Send more paramedics.
I was thinking, going back to your original thought with Taylor Swift,
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to really get her attention, the best, and I'm sure she's never heard this, but like the only thing better to come out in 1989 than Batman was Taylor Swift.
Oh.
That's a good shirt. We can
that.
do that when we're
That
trying to
is
get her
good,
for
that
something.
is good.
It's not bad.
Okay. Is everybody done?
What's your last movie? No, I haven't.
I think I went through mine. Well, I got the only other
or
movie
maybe
I
I
had on my list
miscounted, but I
was.
don't really know.
Yeah, we kind of got lost there at the end. You put in 15
I'm gonna
Disney
toss
movies.
in Birdcage
I did.
because that again
Nathan
made me
Lane.
think
Yeah,
Nathan
yeah.
Lane, Robin Williams, Calista Flockhart's in that movie too.
Really?
Is in
Yeah.
that movie, yeah.
She's the girlfriend.
Oh, I don't recall that at all.
And then Hank Azaria, who is fucking brilliant as the butler.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much. I really like, as you can tell, like funny movies. Like,
Hank
I don't
Azaria
really
was
like
awesome
heavy
in that.
shit.
Hank Azaria is a guy that's had a
I
phenomenal
never
career.
wear shoes because they make me fall down.
Oh God, no! What was the other thing that?
I mean, there's so much.
Oh, there's so many good quotes from him. He's just a phenomenal guy. You've seen him in everything. Everyone kind of knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's not like a huge celebrity, but he's definitely like noticeable.
He's like every
makes Simpsons
voice
money,
on The
too. Yeah,
Simpsons.
so I was
Yeah,
gonna
Yeah, he's got that Simpsons money. He was
do
just
whatever he
in. I think he was just in Ray Donovan. I think is where I saw him again. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, point his butt that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody.
just stick his butt out.
Your
the window
butt,
a
the
little
butt juice ain't escaping here.
bit. It's true.
It's all stuck here. You're all stuck here with the smells.
It's all spades.
All right, so now is everybody done?
I'm done.
Do we direct
Yeah,
down five?
Yeah,
so.
I did. My fifth was Ghostbusters, so we already went through that.
Oh, okay, good. Well, thank you, Tack Track, as always, for your support. Or do you have a Ghostbusters quote you want to toss in?
No, the bite your head off, man. I think was the best. That's one I always say. I find myself always defaulting.
The
to
mass
like,
hysteria comes up all the time, too. A lot of people will fit that in.
dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria.
I also say, and this is another one. You just have those all those quotes that you just kind of integrate in your normal life. I don't know why, but I always say, goes to the Gozerian. Good evening. I just say that to myself all the time.
Yeah, that is a good
Yeah.
one.